Hi, this is David Byrne, Certified Master Beekeeper. Today I want to show you how to put a hive to bed for the winter, so to speak. This hive over here isn't really getting a lot of nectar anymore. We're into October now. There's not much going on in the way of incoming nectar. I've got to feed it. I make up my own pollen patties. I make up my own 2-to-1 sugar water. I'm giving them 2 parts sugar, 1 part water in one of my holes. And in the other feeder hole, I'm giving them 1-to-1 to stimulate brood rearing for the fall. That'd be my spring bees. And so I'm showing you today how we use the feeding systems that we make here and how much the bees really like them. So I'm going to start by putting the mouse guard on, which is the entrance reducer. I recommend that you just kind of step in front of the hive like this and kind of stop people from going in and out for a moment, kind of block the entrance. And then simply put this in place, slide it in there. And that will reduce the entrance for keeping mice out. Today I want to demonstrate how I use this feeding system that we make here to feed our bees in the fall. As you can see in the hive, I just now placed the mouse reducer on the front, the entrance reducer. That way it keeps mice out for the winter. It's going to take a minute for the bees to figure things out, but they'll do that. And then I'm going to take the top off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed pollen through this slot here, and that's pollen patties that we make ourselves. I'm going to feed 2-to-1 sugar water here so they can store it for winter, and then 1-to-1 sugar water here to help generate more brood. The fall brood that I create now for the bees will be the bees that I see into spring and late summer. So let's do it. This hive does not have the incoming nectar source that I thought they would this late summer and fall. I thought my goldenrod was good, and it was, the bees were on it, but I checked this hive and they're not putting away enough nectar and pollen for the winter. Not going to use any smoke, just going to open it for a minute here. So I'm going to place this with the rail down. We've had really good luck running these for a couple of years now. I'm going to switch it so that my nectar is toward the front of the door. All right. Now, this is my... Oh, by the way, when you take these and you turn them up like this, they drip a little bit. But if you watch, they stop dripping because of the vacuum. It holds it tight. And so they really don't drip after that initial drip. So that it's okay to use these. They won't hurt your hive or anything. They won't over drip. So I've got, now this is actually my 2-to-1 over here. 2-to-1 and 1-to-1. And then here's the patties that I make up. I use pollen substitute, some of my other special ingredients that I put in here. I just make a patty. I'm going to punch it through this slot back here in the hole, and that way the bees will start eating it because it's available to them and they're really desperate for pollen right now. If it gets too dry, you can lay a wet paper towel on top of this pollen patty to kind of keep it moist. Sometimes it can dry out if the bees don't eat it before it gets too dry. If it does dry out, you can put another paper towel on there. I'm going to push that much through right now. Tomorrow I'll push a little bit more. And now I just use this to box everything over. Now, if you want to move over this way, Sherry, and we can look inside here. If you want to change these bottles in a few days when they drink it all, now when you open it, you won't have to fight any bees because everything is protected by screen. So as you can see, I can pick this up and no bees will come out because there's a screen in there to hold the bees down. So now I've got 2-to-1, 1-to-1, and I've got a pollen patty being fed from the top. I don't have to smash these patties between boxes or anything. And I just push it down through the screen. And the bees love it. It's already kind of chopped up for them and they can eat it more easily. And then I simply put the top back on, and I'll do this all the way through the time when bees can fly. So I would say usually if it's 50 degrees or higher, bees break cluster and fly. So as long as they can fly, I'll keep feeding them this way with this system. But once it gets to where the bees aren't flying anymore, that's when I go to our winter bee kinds. Hey, thanks for joining us today.